Hello and welcome to Talkin Jake, myself, Talkin Jake, BBD, and we are going to go through some midseason awards. Some obvious, some not so obvious, along with it's NBA draft night. Always one of my favorite days of the year and one of my favorite websites. We'll talk about that in a second. It's in Brooklyn, and it's supposed to be one of the worst drafts ever. So I can give you some thoughts and get you in a direction for tonight if you have nothing. Or maybe you're listening to this tomorrow and you can laugh at my commentary. Big Knicks trade. It's kind of exciting. We'll get there. Let's talk some ball first because we are at the midseason point on Talking Baseball today. Go check that out. We just did some team check-ins, kind of from the over-unders where they were expected to be this season, what's different, what's not, what still has to be decided. So we did all that. I figured while we're at the halfway point, check in on some of the awards, and I can mix in, there's some odds tied to things, along with just some general feel of doing, if it ended today, which way would the voters go? Because there's a couple that might be too close to call and might have to top three them. We'll see. Yeah, I think that's kind of a fun way to do it because people kind of care about that. Like, think about how many times this year have we said Kyle Bradish did finish fourth in the Cy Young last year. In Orioles, you guys have a very interesting player on top of the F-WAR chart who, gets compared to one of our favorite players. Gunnar has him on both. Okay. I think we'll just do the big ones. We'll do some MVP, some Cy Young, Rookie of the Year. Everyone likes that. I like it too. I get
fun
why.
To think about.
Yeah. Let's start. You know what? I'm not even going to tease you guys today. It's June 26th. Summer's here. Let's do the AL MVP. Let's get punched in the mouth. Because I watch the New York Yankees every night. They got embarrassed by the Mets yesterday, but they almost embarrassed them with a big comeback late, and a big chunk of that was a grand slam that Aaron Judge accidentally hit. Off the end of his bat, Harrison Bader looking like he might have it lined up. Sure didn't, because that fella is different. Aaron Judge, 5.6 WAR on the season, 29 homers, .304 batting average, a .428 on base, a 1.128 OPS, 75 RBI. I tweeted it out last night because it's that point of the year when if you're off to this good of a start, you've had a full season. We're going to talk about guys next year before the start of the season and be like, he had 29 homers, 75 RBI. That's a great year. Judge is there. It's insanity, and if you're always looking for a little multiplier, he's been playing center field almost strictly. Center field and DH. How many games is he at now? I can get there. Judge
4 and 3 games in left and right, respectively.
59 games in center, 13 at DH, 4 and 4. Yeah.
He moved one day.
Slid over.
I think 3 starts.
Appearances, yep. That Aaron Judge has won the AL MVP in 2022. I don't think there's any argument against him being the best hitter in the AL this year as he's leading in doubles and homers. It's a little surprise. RBI, slugging, and OPS. He's got a 7 in the slug. Okay, bank some of that because, if you want to win the MVP, you kind of have to do special stuff. Down beautiful I-95, you'll find Gunnar Henderson, who is technically ahead of Judge in F-WAR and B-WAR, if that's how you like to party. He is leading in runs, 69, nice. 25 home runs, he had 28 last year. 282, 383, a 607 slug with a 989 OPS. So, I always say flavor of ice cream. The New York Yankees have been atop the American League East for a while now. The Baltimore Orioles are 2 games back. It would be a lot different if they had snuck out their comeback last night against the Guardians or in one of the last couple games they've played. So it kind of turns into just a beautiful sports debate of Judge has been the best hitting-wise. He is playing a premium position, not necessarily at a crazy high level, but also not at a negative level at all. While Gunnar Henderson has been hitting at the second best level in the American League. I think him and Soto are neck and neck. But he is playing the premium position, essentially. He's playing shortstop. And the defensive metrics like him, and everything I hear from Birds fans are they like him. And every time I see a play, I like him. That, I think it leads to a healthy conversation on, A, do you believe in New York bias or almost New York anti-bias? Because that's been a discussion here and in the office and coming some of the votes. New York, you get more eyes on you, and I think that usually helps. But there's been a couple arguments in past years that it hasn't. And the case I jump to is 2017, Aaron Judge versus Jose Altuve. Aaron Judge had the better straight-up offensive profile. Aaron Judge led the league in runs, homers, walks. He did lead in strikeouts, funny enough. In a time where people still half cared. He finished second to Jose Altuve, who did have him beat in batting average. He had more hits. Judge had the slight edge over him in WAR. Mike Trout finished 4th that year, cleaned up the OBP, slugging, and OPS that Judge was essentially second in those categories, and Altuve right there as well. Now the Houston Astros in 2017, no, we're not doing any of that. They finished 101 and 61. What the Yankees finished with that year? Let's double check. 2017 final standings. I haven't looked at these in a while.
The number in my head is 93.
MLB standings. Let's see. Dodgers won the NL West. Shocker.
Right.
Yankees won 91 and were the wild card team.
Yes.
The Boston Red Sox won the division. So that's a dumb feather to put in your hat that does matter. The Houston Astros won the West. Guardians won the Central. More things change, the more they stay the same. If the vote ended today, I think the only other factor that I haven't really mentioned yet, Bobby Witt Jr. needs to be mentioned, although he is a tier below offensively, and I just think him with Gunnar, I don't think you can argue Bobby's been better than Gunnar.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of the instant there. Soto and Judge, teammates. So you've got the 2 shortstops, and then you've got the 2 teammates that, I don't know. As we're doing this for this exercise for midseason awards, I don't think Soto would be pulling too many top votes away from Judge. I guess the only argument that you could see 1 or 2 old head voters saying is that Soto came over and changed the whole tenor of the team, which when we're pulling apart the top 4 guys in the American League here, you start leaning into stuff like that. And Soto has had a recent little funk while Judge has just constantly. I mean, what's his best split right now, BBD? If you want to give me some Judge research,
I can start trying to cook.
There was a month where he was 1.5, and it doesn't feel like he's slowed down. That I mean, Judge probably has a 1.3 over like 2 month split. I don't know. Beebs is on research and develop for that.
And the oh,
Okay.
it's more or less his last 2 months exactly. 52 games. It's the day that they've been using.
Right.
374 batting average, 489 on base, and 890 slug for a 1.379 OPS. He's hit 25 homers in those 52 games, 17 doubles.
That's vile.
What a freak.
That's vile.
39 walks.
Honesty hour. I expected to come into this conversation leaning Gunner. Just because it's shortstop. It's new. After just closing the book on 2017, because I thought there was some, it's not a perfect comparison, but some Judge and Gunner to Judge and Altuve. I do think when it's like this, but the WAR thing throws me off. Because people love WAR, man. And Gunner's doing historical stuff for a second baseman, or shortstop, excuse me, while Judge is doing the same. If it ended today, Beebs, what do you think, what would happen? Gunner or Judge?
I think today it would be Judge. I'm looking at like the StatCast compare tool that they have. Just have numbers of both of them right in front of me. And Judge just has some magic numbers in there. 700 OPS is nearly 100 points higher.
Yeah.
He's well over one dotting. Gunner, the OPS is in the nines. It just looks different. OPS plus 212, first 184 is just different area. They both are playing premium positions, even giving Gunner a bump for doing a better job at a slightly more, or perhaps substantially more premium position. They both have the homers, that's fine, but Judge is way ahead in RBIs. That's batting order stuff too. They both are playing a ton. The Wars are in the same area. I think Judge has the magic numbers in there that it would be him right now.
So
I'd be interested in placing a bet on Gunner for how the rest of the season goes.
Well, and that's kind of where I'll close the loop on this, is that in my head, I was coming in about to tell the people Gunner over Judge for MVP. I think the voters will go that way. Also, pulling the curtains back, if there was a graphic linked to me that has the AL MVP as Gunner over Judge, hello engagement. I think this closes the book for now. DraftKings, our friends, remember they're messing around with actual money, so they're not just playing the super guessing game. What do you think they have? Judge and Gunner. This is an impossible game, but
I'm looking.
Currently looking? Okay.
Yeah.
I would have assumed it was Judge minus 150, Gunner plus 150, something like that.
I'd have thought their odds would be closer together.
Judge minus 180 and Gunner plus 390. So if you bet $10 on Aaron Judge, you would get, what'd you get? $8?
9 something, 8 something.
Well, Gunnar Henderson, 10 to win 39. So I'm a little shocked to see that, but it does confirm the answer that I thought I believed, or I just talked myself into. If it ended today, I think Aaron Judge would be the MVP. Gunnar 2, and then let's see, Soto, Witt. We'll go Bobby Witt. Good for Kansas City.
Their odds are even right now.
They've had a great run, and Soto has lost third place in the last week. Too many lefties. Chris Sale. Have you seen him? He's good. Good commentary by Juan Soto on that one. I think AL MVP is the biggest one. I guess the National League, they've got a 2-pony race going right now, at least according to DraftKings, and let's reverse engineer it. Shohei Ohtani is the current favorite at minus 120. So fairly evenish money. I think we did the money wrong on Judge before. I think it was like $10 to win.
You might be winning. I think, yes, something like that's what you get back.
Never been a numbers pod, and you people know that, but you people subscribe to the YouTube. So thank you if you are. If you're not, hit the subscribe button now. Shohei coming in at -120. He is leading the NL in WAR, and he does not play defense, which is insane. One of his competitors, not the big two, is also there. Marcell Ozuna, the season he is currently having is Looney Tunes. If you remember for a while there, Mookie Betts was in the race. He's hurt. He gone. That it has Shohei Ohtani and Bryce Harper at +200. So they currently have this as a closer race than the American League, which surprises me just a little bit. Bryce. My God.
Go nuts.
They got a good one in that guy. God damn it. 306, 402, and 992 OPS. Bryce Harper is playing first base, which, again, deserves more snaps for. Defensive analytics don't like any first baseman pretty much, except Christian Walker. So either way, the fact that Bryce Harper is out there and doing that is insane. On track for about a 40-homer season. The triple slash is a beautiful thing. Not leading the league in too many categories, but your Philadelphia Phillies do have the best record in baseball. And, I don't know, kind of their first time taking down the Braves so far in the regular season. Sorry, Phillies fans.
The season ended today is the conversation
Right.
we're having. So
Now, Shohei, Moondoggy, he is leading the National League in runs, home runs, batting average, slugging, and OPS. Season ends today. It's Ohtani. I think the Dodgers are still winning the West by a healthy margin. I think the fact storylines do matter, especially when it comes to valuable and voting. Shohei Ohtani winning the batting title. That's a fun fact. He's got to be a couple points off from the Triple Crown. He would have the batting title and home runs. He doesn't have RBI. I'm going to assume that's Ozuna with the Braves, but I can double-check that really quickly. Yes, it is. With 64, and Ohtani has 60. So Ohtani's a swing away from owning the Triple Crown. He's also Shohei Ohtani, also part of the storyline, Ippei, for one. Second part of the storyline, it's the year he's not pitching. So when you look in the annals of baseball history and you start telling the Shohei Ohtani story, for all the baseball writers to be like, the year he didn't pitch, he won MVP. That's how it would go down. He would currently have it as of today. Harper would have to kick further into gear. I think the guy DraftKings currently has odds-wise, and this is odds to win, so I think it's not necessarily odds to finish
it's not necessarily
third.
a pure ranking.
Yeah. It currently has odds-wise Ozuna and Freddie, 3-4. I think the guy I'm going to put in the 3 spot right now is William Contreras. The Brewers they've led the National League Central basically the whole way. I think when you talk premier positions, catching does come up. And I just think his numbers are starting to drift a little bit. But the Braves are going to finish second in the Phillies. I think for storyline reasons, I think it would be William Contreras. I think catching matters. He has been the tone setter in the middle of that lineup for them. I guess when I clicked and looked at the numbers, I thought I'd still be a little more jazzed up. Let me see. How much has he been scuffling? William Contreras splits. Home and away. He's having a tough June. Yikes. 20 games with a 556 OPS. So, should I walk that dog back? I won't for now. Because Freddie, I don't know. Ohtani will get all the love. And then Ozuna, I don't know. I don't think he's in the voters' best spirits right now. That I think people would go for the punchy tough Milwaukee Brewers. Although, is Yelly still raking? Because that starts to become an interesting combo. Yelly's come back down to earth a little bit, and Willie Thomas has been really solid too. That technically Bryce Terang has more WAR than William Contreras. What a sport sometimes. That's the NL. I'll put William there for now. I think we like a catcher. The Cy Young Award. We'll keep it National League because it's currently a 3-horse race over there. One of the horses is a pretty friend of mine, Tyler Glasnow, with the second best odds. And it's almost the exact same as Zach Wheeler. Zach Wheeler, technically the DK NL favorite right now, with Ranger Suarez third at 350. And then there's a gap. It's Chris Sale and Max Fried competing lefties on the same team. That's funny. Sonny Gray, Ronaldo Lopez has arguably been better than those lefties on his team. They are also playing for the end of the year. So I need to clarify that one more time. If this is it, it's Glasnow. I'm a big believer in stealing votes. And I think Suarez and Wheeler, I think those two would steal from each other right now. Let me double check on Suarez because the numbers are so good.
Yeah.
2.01 ERA. You'd like to see that in the ones if we're trying to get rid of Zach.
We're trying to get Ranger to snake Zach or Glass now.
10-2, 2.01, leads in ERA plus, leads in ERA. Glass now, 2.88, 135 strikeouts in 100 innings. Strikeouts still play. That is the most in the National League. He leads the National League in WHIP. I don't know if you think of Glasnow as that kind of guy.
Glasnow's strikeout rate. Obviously, like naturally, you'd expect it to be high. He's leading in strikeouts, but 35% out of your starting pitchers.
And then Wheeler, Wheeler's toe for toe. He's 2.73, 99 innings, 107. So as of today, Ranger beats out Wheeler. I just think voting-wise, you're going to have a couple people that are Wheeler over Ranger, whether that's East Coast bias, whether that's a Philly person that thinks Zach Wheeler now has to climb the list of like one of the best pitchers to currently not have a Cy Young, right? Like he's got a Cy Young too. He's been great for a while. That I think, unfortunately, the Philly guys would probably get in each other's way, and I think Glasnow would get it. Now, is that right? Because what game am I playing?
Yeah.
Am I playing who I think deserves it, or I'm playing who I think
would win it?
Who I think would win it with the voters? Because I don't have a vote. So I'm kind of playing the voters that I think it would go Glasnow 1, Suarez 2, Wheeler 3. Sorry, Philly. No shots fired on my end because I am an ERA snob. I would give it to Ranger. You kind of have to, right?
Yeah, kind of.
He's not really leading. He's got wins in ERA, which back in the day.
He has the wins. He has the ERA. He ain't walking guys. The strikeouts aren't way off. The innings are right there for all three of them.
Yeah.
All of them are within 2 innings of each other.
Would be funny
Same
seeing
number of starts.
Dodgers MVP and Cy Young winner. They're 2 big offseason acquisitions. How about that? In the American League, currently listed as a 2-pony race. BBD's guy before the season took his chance on Tarek like Derek. Scooble, he is currently the AL favorite. He is neck and neck with Corbin Burns with 3 and 4. Garrett Crochet and Tanner Houck with the same odds. Who had those two coming into the season? Logan Gilbert, Cole Reigans, Jack Flaherty. We like that. Some applause from the office. They hit the sales gong.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think a sale just finished.
Oh, boy. We like that. hear about that soon. AL Cy Young for me, Skubal versus Burns. Let's dive a little bit. You have the familiar name in Corbin Burns. You have Skubal, who was a lot of, a dark horse-ish for the AL Cy Young this year. Pitches in a good ballpark. Finished last year incredibly strong in his prime. 97 innings, 112 strikeouts, a 2.32 ERA for Tarek Skubal. Corbin Burns now, interesting here. He has a Cy Young. It would be Cy Youngs in 2 leagues, which insert fun fact about that here. Also currently not technically leading the AL in any category, but a 2.35, 99.2 innings pitched. Very, very on par with Tarek Skubal. Now let's get into the numbers a little more, because as I go off the DraftKings odds,
on a head-to-head level, with all Baseball Reference's go-to stats for pitchers, Skubal has him in everything besides innings, and he's 2 innings behind.
Right. Yeah, I mean it turns into,
but they're all close.
Right. I think this name recognition can't be ignored. A guy that's won a Cy Young, a guy that was a big trade piece, and the fact that we are talking about good team, not as good team right now. I think there's just an accent piece there, depending how those games start to look down the stretch. Let's see. Earned runs. Patrick Corbin and Ryan Feltner have given up the most earned runs.
Right.
Don't think that's the stat you want. Skubal technically has B-WAR.
Mm-hmm. By a considerable
by a chunk.
amount.
He's tied with Seth Lugo. Shout out to Seth, who's been just balling out this year. And then I guess that's so. This is where I just got myself currently in trouble. I'm trying to do today. Voting closes. Ballot boxes are done. What DraftKings is doing is the end of the year, where they're considering everyone's reputations. That Skubal has been great for a while now, that he's probably going to finish really strong. Corbin Burns has been great. Probably going to finish pretty strong. Seth Lugo doesn't have as much history. Was a reliever for a chunk of his career. He is breaking out now. He has a 2.29 ERA. He is leading in innings. He also has a 10-2 record. That you cannot ignore him, or Tanner Houck. Tanner Houck is leading in ERA. Leading in ERA. ERA plus and FIP, which that kind of goes with it. Okay, I kind of need to put the DK aside for a second, because, I mean, these numbers are better than Corbin Burns.
Yeah, on the stat head filter, not everything, but I have those 4 all next to each other right now. Burns leads the group in nothing.
Right. That I was surprised. I think I was going to do
an extra start.
I think I was going to do some soft media stuff there.
And I like that for Burns. I think that would play going into free agency. I think in general, voters have liked that the last few years.
They like him. He's good. Feels like a vote that won't hurt you in a couple years. Now this starts to get very ugly. Because as of this hour, we're recording 12:40 on June 26th. The Red Sox are technically a half game in above the Kansas City Royals.
Mm-hmm.
Detroit Tigers a little bit back. Doing this exercise the way I want to do this exercise, I think I'm Houck. He's got the best ERA. He pitches at Fenway. The Red Sox are a playoff team. Their pitching has been a storyline of this season. Like, the Red Sox pitching was supposed to be a joke. It was coming into the year.
supposed to be like criminally bad.
Like Achilles heel of all Achilles heels. And they have not been. And I think Tanner Houck has been the biggest source of that. And if you want me to be obnoxious, one of my strengths, I don't know, do I point to Rick Porcello right now? Still don't understand that. Why did that happen to me? Why am I still hurt from that? I think I'm going Houck Skubal. I think it's Houck Skubal, and then I'll even put Lugo. Because the numbers are just straight up better than Burns. Like, I understand where DraftKings is coming from. By the end of the season, you got two young guys that really haven't put together full seasons, and then one old guy that hasn't put together a full season. That, you know, Corbin Burns, it might be slow and steady wins the race.
Safest is just be in the mix later.
You'd probably rather bet on that guy than the other guys, but
that the game we're playing is voting today.
And this is why I'm glad I did this, because if socials came up to me, if this is how our company worked and said, hey, give us a midseason awards graphic, I think I would have put Burns as one just on performance and name recognition. But that would be wrong. That would be wrong. He's getting outpitched a little bit by some of the young studs and Seth. But yeah, I'm satisfied with my answers, even though they're not the answers I thought they would be. Let's close it up. High and tight. Garrett Crochet snaps. I think he's leading in strikeouts. He gets White Soxed out of the voting.
Yeah, White Sox might even be changing.
Might not be there. Some rumors in the trade machines. Even some little birdies talking to me. We'll see. We'll see. Where there's smoke, there's been fire with my little birdie. Man, season 6 of Game of Thrones. Incredible. Incredible. We just did Hold the Door. Something. I mean, obviously, all the side little stories, if you're a Game of Thrones fan, you love them. Like Sam Tarley just went home for the first time, and that scene's pretty lit. Still fat.
His dad was so mean.
So mean. So not Sam. Tough. That's life sometimes. Rookie of the year, we can be a little high and tight on. AL right now is Luis Gil versus Wally Abreu. Mason Miller and Wyatt Langford. Rafaela, Colton Cowser still with eligibility. If it ends today, it would be Luis Gil. Luis Gil has been incredible for the Yankees. I was questioning why we're not talking about him as like Fernando Mania. He's had a couple slip-ups. Yankee fans are anxious about a lot of the roster right now. Starting against the Mets tonight, he could quelch all that, or boy, could we be in a panic on Talkin Yanks tonight. If Cole gets rocked, Heel gets rocked, and half the lineup doesn't hit, buckle up. Wallier was hurt for a little bit. Mason Miller's been great, unreal as a closer, but at a certain point, baseball turns into innings. And
I can butter knife you on Mason
I mean, how
Miller's
many
last month?
How many more innings does Heel have than Mason Miller? It's got to be
Mason
40?
Miller has 34 innings. Luis Gil has 81.
So, yeah. I mean,
starting pitcher just has the edge over reliever, even in voting and everything.
And, I mean, soon Mason Miller is going to be his teammate. That Luis Gil would get it. Yankee starting pitching. Somewhat historic until recently. On the National League side.
4.9 FIP for Mason Miller in the last month.
Getting hit?
Getting hit a little, walking a little.
Uh-oh. Tighten it up.
Not punching quite as many tickets. He's good. He's nasty.
NL gets a little slippery because, again, DraftKings comes at this from, and they're looking at the year-end angle, where they have Paul Skeens as a heavy favorite. Skeens got called up a little late. He has had 8 starts now to the tune of a 2.14. He is punching tickets. The whip is there. Everything is there. The Paul Skeens show has been Paul Skeens. We've got a couple tricky things to navigate here because Shota Imanaga Technically a rookie. 2.96 ERA, 14 starts. The numbers have come to earth a little bit, especially last start against the Mets with 10 earned runs. That's tough. Tough break for Shody. We have a weird thing that Yankee fans point to Hideki Matsui a lot, that, these guys were technically professionals. They're rookies in this league, that they get hurt voting-wise by that. The other rookie that's in the mix currently in the National League, Jackson Merrill. My guy. He's picked it up of late, too. The numbers are starting to get to a very respectable place. 284, a 756 OPS. That's a 115 OPS plus. 10 homers, 2.1 WAR. This would be hideous as of today. Because Rookie of the Year, this is the loosest one. Because Paul Skeens kind of is the Rookie of the Year. Right?
Yeah.
We're tuning into starts. He's becoming a poster boy. He is going to probably be Rookie of the Year. This would probably be the ugliest vote possible. Because you have everything. You have position player versus starting pitcher for rookies, where Jackson Merrill has played every day. He's played 80 games this year.
Yeah.
So you've got an everyday center fielder who is performing at a really high level going against a starting pitcher, which that's a lifelong baseball argument, the value between a guy throwing every fifth day. Like, Paul Skeens has played 8 baseball games, while Jackson Merrill has played 80. He's played 10 times the baseball games. So that's, the fly ball in the gap that Jackson Merrill doesn't get a ton of credit for on WAR or whatever it is. Like, he's catching that ball where Paul Skeens was in the minors for that. And then you have the ice cream on top of Shota Imanaga, the international guy who probably has the best season of this. If it was a star to go, it's no contest. It was no contest. I mean, what was his... Let me flip over. 3 innings, 10 earned runs. Going into last start, he had a 1.89. I think doing this exercise, how I've been doing this exercise, I think, Imanaga not in the playoffs. Padres in the playoffs. Pirates not. Are they? What's going on in our beautiful
NL changes every day.
NL wild card? No, they lost. So, yeah, they're 2.5 out. Padres are in.
Mine's a little blown at Skeens versus Imanaga's WAR.
Right? If you're a WAR person, it's right there.
Yeah. Skeens has more. In half the starts. But I think if we're doing voting right now, what have you done in the first half?
Rookie of the Year means nothing. I think the voters would go Skeens. He's been electric. I know Shota's got almost double the starts. Jackson Merrill's played every day. I think this is where voters are voters. I will say it's Skeens, Imanaga, Jackson Merrill. Do I believe in that? I don't think so. I have no idea how that voting goes. If you think you know, sound off below. But my God, that's everything. Starting pitcher, position player, international player. Put it in a blender, see what you got. Let me know what you think I missed.
Did you declare a third place AL Rookie of the Year?
Mason Miller.
Purposes?
Yeah.
I thought he was second.
Oh, shoot. Heel Miller.
I wrote down Heel Miller.
Oh, God. Willier? No, he's been out a lot. Langford hasn't been good.
Cowser cooled down.
Wensiel Perez?
Huh.
He's been good.
Been good. Exciting.
Colton Cowser. Put Cowser on there. Milkman.
Did enough early. Good team.
Yeah, if it ended today, he's been playing center recently. That's interesting. Covering for Mullins. Let me know what you think I missed. The other thing in the NL that was really rude, that I might have to rewrite something. Joey Ortiz for Milwaukee has been very good. 383 on base. Do people like the Brewers? He's playing a premium position. Put Joey Ortiz third. Sorry, Jackson Merrill.
Keep doing what you're doing, and you might be back.
But yeah,
here.
all of his numbers are better. He's playing third base and some other infield positions. Milwaukee's won a ton of games. Joey Ortiz deserves some flowers, maybe even more flowers than Skeens and Imanaga, but that's the whole game we're playing here. Boy, that ended ugly. Sorry. That's why I wanted to do this exercise. Let me know what I missed. Per always. I don't know. Don't think that's a thing. Tell you what is a thing. BBD's NBA draft is tonight. Along with a massive Knicks trade. Let's do some NBA draft quick. One thing you need to know off the rip, one of my favorite websites on the internet is NBAdraft.net. I don't know if I should put this out on the ether because it's real and fake at the same time. It is a dream of mine that we either partner with them or buy them one day. It's a hilarious website. I've gone on this website for over a decade now. I don't think they're affiliated with anyone. I know nothing about them. If you know who is NBAdraft.net, I want to talk to them. And part of the reason I like them, I guess the comparison is to Dunkin' Donuts or what's another? I was talking about something the other day. Something that's kind of chaotic, but that makes you like it even more. NBAdraft.net, they've done mock drafts for years. They have the players. They update the site a lot. The part that kills me is they do NBA player comps, but they don't fill a lot of them in till late. And they have links on these guys years ahead. If I look at next year's draft, Cooper Flagg has been lined up to be the number one pick in that draft for a while. Okay, they have NBA comps for him. Sean Marion and Andre Kirilenko. I love that. Put that into my vein. My vein? I don't have multiple. So you'll see some guys on their website. I'm looking at next year. They have Carter Knox. This is next year's draft. We're 365 days away. They have Carter Knox going with, where did I just see him? Oh, God, I lost him. Oh, they have him going 23rd to New Orleans. Sure, I have no idea who he is. I have no idea where he'll be in next year's draft. They have a link to a picture of him, but they have zero other information. Nothing. They had no bio, no analysis, nothing. Which, again, after tonight's draft, the most clicked thing on their website is going to be this page. Once the draft's done.
It's why are they this far ahead if this page isn't ready for next year? I love this website.
The other thing I enjoy, and everyone loves, is player comparisons. And they do that with the players they do have that for, they have that for. So, if I was to click on my guy, Stephon Castle from University of Connecticut, they have his NBA comp as Dante Exum. That's kind of tough. Dante Exum's had a lot of up and downs mostly downs in the NBA. He had a little come up this year with the Mavericks. Basically, what they're trying to get across, Stephon Castle, crazy athletic, long, can guard 1 through 4. His offense game is going to be how much can he shoot. People are half worried about that. Dribble and pass. I'm not as worried about Castle. Sure, I'm a UConn guy. But they again, this is a plus and a minus. They almost didn't run any offense for him, and he was still able to get his, which that's kind of the key to being a young player in the NBA. Like, Castle will be out there, he'll be able to defend, and then he'll get loose balls, rebounds, he'll cut, he'll make it on the break. Like, it'll take a little bit for his NBA game to develop. And he is projected to go top 5 or so. So it's not like this is my gem of the draft. But they have the number 4 pick currently on their website. San Antonio would like that fit. Being Stephon Castle and comparing him to Dante Exum, who's kind of been a NBA failure up until this point. Sorry, Dante. While meanwhile, Terrence Shannon, who they just slid up from our New York Knicks to Milwaukee, 6'7", one of the older players in the draft. Absolute dog, though. Watch him play. He can score. His NBA comps at 23 are Donovan Mitchell and Mitch Richmond. Mitch Richmond is a Hall of Fame basketball player, Team USA. Donovan Mitchell, same. So that's one of the things I like to enjoy about this. Because this is an NBA draft on net calling their shot. They're just kind of saying, like, hey, man, this is who we're comparing him to. I don't know. If those were their actual comps, I think their draft position would be swapped. Anyways, shout out to NBA Draft.net. This draft is being regarded as one of the worst drafts in NBA history. Tough off the rip. At the top, there's the 2 UConn guys. I mentioned Stephon Castle, and I just gave you my scouting report. It'll work. It's just what level of good. People are trying to make him a point guard. He is not that. But I think as a wing defender, I think he'll be able to shoot enough. And he's just athletically gifted and a good ball player. Like, he can do everything. He can pass. He can score. It's going to take a little bit in the NBA. If he lands with pretty much any of those top teams, I think it works. And
he'll contribute to winning with any of those teams.
We're in a draft that we're not really sure if anything will work. And Castle's offensive game puts him in that bucket, but he's the least in that bucket. Yeah, it's scary with Wemby because he needs as much shooting around him as he can get. But San Antonio also has a history of being able to teach people how to shoot. Castle's shot isn't broken. He'll hit his corner threes. He'll make it work. It's just to what level on offense. Rudy Gay would probably be a lazy player comp because another UConn guy. Rudy was a little bigger. I do like him. Everyone's fallen in love with Reed Sheppard, the shooter from Kentucky. Scary thing is he was listed 6'1.5" at the combine. NBA stopped letting players wear shoes. So Reed Sheppard on a normal year would be listed 6'3". So do with that what you want, but tough to be an undersized guard in the NBA. His player comps are Mark Price and Jimmer Fredette. Spoiler, Reed Sheppard is white. His shooting profile does, for what he did in college and what it projects to in the NBA and how much shooting matters, people are on the Reed Sheppard boat. It's how ugly does his defense get? And, I mean, how much does the offense come together? Can you shoot and dribble and play like Steph or Trey or those guys? Or can you not? The fact we're talking about these guys near the top picks of the draft is scary. The line Simmons and Russillo keep using, if you listen to them, is they've heard from scouts in the NBA that this draft is comparable to if a regular draft was starting at the 7th pick. Like, that's crazy. But there's still good value. I mean, we just saw Mikal Bridges, pick number 11 in one of those drafts, traded for a king's ransom. So there's going to be good players that come out of this. It's just who, what fit, and where. I'm a little scared for Reed Sheppard. Like, I was getting fully talked into him because Russillo's in on him. A lot of people are in on the shooting. I don't know. He's starting to feel more and more like a guy in this draft that's getting a lot of love because he's a guy in this draft and people have to get a lot of love somewhere. The other one that I feel like I can talk about confidently, I can't on either of the French guys, Risache and Alexander Sarr, the other 7-1 big. I think it would be a really cool story if one of them gets paired with Wemby and the last city in America that you would think is a French embassy has become one in San Antonio. From Tony Parker to Wemby to if one of these guys join, that's like a weird Hallmark movie, which the Chiefs are coming out with one. How about that? No idea on the Frenchies. I'm sorry. I've watched a couple highlights. The fact that we still can't really scout international guys. Outside of Luka, everyone had Luka but was just scared.
It never made any sense why he wasn't going number one.
Everyone was just scared because we don't know what we're doing with international guys still, which is insane. I just want one of the Frankies to get paired up with Wemby. My guy Donovan Clingan. Rumors with the 1 pick, which is pretty wild. Although those rumors are falling out as of today. Feels like we're starting to get the real draft gossip today. Clingan is 7'3". He's a traditional center. He would have been the 1 pick in 1999. Donovan Clingan is good. His player comps on NBADraft.net, which I don't have a big argument against, are Jacob Poeltl and Walker Kessler. Kessler came a little later in the draft. He is a massive human. Like, I was going to critique his defense. Even though all of his defensive numbers in college are incredible, because he's got a little bit of a second jump to him too. Like, he's for a man his size playing defense, he is a problem. He'll never be. What's that? One
of the lines of things in their description of him and under strengths shows a mean streak and aggressiveness that you don't usually find in big men.
Yeah,
they're all over it.
Yeah, they're on it. Clingan going 1 for a while was scary to me. I wouldn't want that pressure on him. Like, he offensively, I mean, he puts the ball in the basket. And with today's NBA, if he has the ball in the post, like, he can do damage. He should be a double-double. He should be a usable big, but it's just scary looking at the NBA postseason and how bigs can just get eliminated and not be a part of it at all. I feel like Donovan Clingan is going to be a fantastic 28-minute-a-night center, but with the 1 pick, that's insane. So I'm half glad those rumors are going away. And again, he'll be a fit on any team. Any team can use Donovan Clingan, but will he be in your final 5 of your lineup, which if you're not with a top 5 pick, a top 13 pick, that's crazy. The other things I want to chew off along the way as you watch tonight's NBA draft before I get to that beautiful Knicks trade. I'm in on the olds in this draft. You don't hear that a lot in the NBA because normally it's the opposite of that. But because of the lack of general talent, the old guys are still getting knocked for being old, even though they might be the best players. So when I say old guys, Dalton Knecht looked more into the story out of Tennessee. Didn't love watching him play at Tennessee. He was a very hot and cold guy. If he was cooking, he was cooking. He is an athlete, and he's a growth spurt guy. Love me a growth spurt guy. That basically means you're skilled, and then you got even taller. He is an athlete. He is will shoot from anywhere across half court guy. I like him as a better fit in the NBA than he was in college. For all of these guys, obviously, where they land and what opportunity they get, blah, blah, blah. You say this with any draft. I think Dalton Knecht, I think he's going to figure it out. And I think a lot of people, like almost any landing spot. Like, does Detroit need anyone who will shoot it from anywhere? Absolutely. The Spurs, they're looking for shooting around Wemby. Houston, absolutely. Washington's looking for anything. Even Atlanta. Like, in on Dalton Connect. One of the other olds, Devin Carter. 6'3" out of Providence. He's a junior. He basically came out of the draft as one of the best athletes. He was also kind of what Providence had, that he was the guy taking the shot a lot at the end of the shot clock. Figure it out, pop. That I always bank on those guys, because when Devin Carter enters the NBA, he's going to be everyone's last worry. Like, he's going to be on an NBA team now. That he has the athleticism. I think he'll be able to play both backcourt positions. I think he can shoot. Like, his shooting numbers from this year are good, but they're down a little bit. But part of the reason they're down because he was the guy. He was the guy that every team game planned for. He was the guy at the end of the shot clock who had to jack it up. I think that's a really good formula for the NBA. If he was a young, I think he'd be a top 5 pick. The other old I like, I'm not going to do Zach Edey. Zach Edey's going to be fine. Maybe not. Like, the NBA is so small right now that if he gets up and down the court, he can have a role. And he's got game to him. Like, he's not just a freak of nature. But, like, they have his NBA comp as Boban. How many game-changing plays are you seeing Boban have these days? And he got compared to Pirtle, maybe Valanciunas too. Not as much as in on Edey. I am in on Terrence Shannon, ironically enough, as I started this NBA draft on net. He's 6'7", and he can score. If you're in the NBA and you can do that, you're going to figure it out. He's 23, so that's tough. That hurts him just a little bit. But yeah, I'm in on the olds. Otherwise, we're taking a lot of chances, man. I'm scared that our Knicks kept both first picks in this draft.
Surprising.
If you're trading that many picks, you would have thought they might get out of there. Enjoy the NBA draft tonight. Knicks-wise,
before we get out of NBA draft talk, just for algorithm purposes, Bronny James. Out of the Knicks.
Yeah, he's going to get drafted. Tyler Kolek is your stereotypical really good white point guard that someone won't waste a pick on, but will hang out in the NBA for 8 years. So just chalk him in for that. My guy Tristan Newton. I hope he figures it out. Same with Cam Spencer. Kevin McCullough, and per usual in the NBA draft, whoever the Heat end up with. Like, I heard a Dalton Connect Heat rumor, and I was like, yes, absolutely. That'll be fun. And the big storyline for me, who are they going to pair with Wemby? Because Wemby's here. He's arrived. They've had some weird pieces around him, between Sochan and some other things. Very interested to see which way they go with it. I think that's the story of the draft. Didn't mention Buzelis. My guy Rosillo says if he could shoot, he'd be the best player. I'll bank on that.
A lot of guys can say that.
Right. That's the problem. Knicks trade breaks last night. Beep, 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 beep. We're watching Subway Series. Yanks are getting the business. Then they come back. The New York Knicks. How many picks did it end up being? 4 or 5? 4 and a pick swap?
5 total picks, 4 of their own unprotected picks. And a 5th that's like a protected Bucks pick.
As rumored, and a lot by Bill Simmons. That's where I give him credit, man. He's always on it and around it. He knows that league. Mikal Bridges, another Villanova guy, gets traded to the New York Knicks. A ton of picks in Bojan Bogdanovic. So the contracts are in the same area code, which is pretty wild and good for Bojan. and then a ton of picks. And the picks are scary, but it's currently where the NBA is at, that late first-round picks just currently have very little value. That if you're trading for a superstar, if you're trading for a star, people would even tilt their head at that at Bridges a little bit. But the Rudy Gobert trade was critiqued as, oh my God, how could they give up this much? This is one of the worst trades ever.
It's really like any last piece or among the last piece kind of moves for maybe a slightly sub-star player or better. The cost is the picks you can trade. All of them.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just the thing that made me feel a little better, because I was getting some instant reaction from Knicks buddies like, wow, that's a lot. That's might be too much. Hey, we've waited for a day in New York that the Knicks had a good team and a bunch of draft picks to trade away to get a good player. Today was that day. And I mean, if you don't believe in the Nova thing after what you saw last year, I mean, my goodness. And it's not like Bridges, oh, well, yeah, he happened to go to Nova. No, I mean, he took a baby step back last year, but the Nets were atrocious.
He's being asked to be the leading scorer on a not good team.
So fit in where you ship in that the Knicks, now the big thing for me, and it's still my reaction, is you have to bring back OG Anunoby. He is a free agent. The Knicks can sign him. There's that stat out there. The Knicks record with OG Anunoby was crazy last year. The books were cooked a little bit on those, but whatever. They were really good with him. And Anunoby is really good. His defense is disgusting, and he can catch and shoot a three, which that's a really strong formula. If they sign OG, I'm like all in. Chips on the table. Hopefully Hartenstein too. For whatever reason, I'm mentally at grips with him going. Finding another big man to do it or whatever. I guess initial reaction, there was a little bit of like, oh boy, the Knicks are giving up a lot of unprotected picks in a lot of years I haven't even thought about yet. 29, 31. That believing in a strong Knicks run the next 7 years is tough for me to imagine because I've never seen it. I've landed on I'm going to deal with that later. And I think someone who texted, was a guy Tommy P or Greg Poon today, was like, that 29 pick, Jalen Brunson will be, I think, 31 years old or something like that. So like
something like that.
Things, if Brunson is the guy, which I believe in Brunson. Undersized guards, it usually ends quick. He's built a little different. We'll see the whole thing play out. Is one of those picks going to burn you? I think you're planning on that. 2031 or 2032?
I've been trying to check out all the 12-year-olds I can.
You've been doing your own scouting, which we've told you.
I do my independent research.
Hey, Knicks fans have waited a long time to have a team they actually believe in as a championship team. I think if they sign OG Anunoby, I will actually believe in the New York Knicks as an NBA title team, and I haven't felt that way since I've hit puberty. Since I've been able to, an adult has looked at me knowing I have the knowledge of making a right or wrong decision. I've never thought the Knicks have had a championship team. So sign OG and let's go.
It was among the texts going around our group chat last night. It makes complete sense. One, the Knicks, I feel like, have had the upper hand and have known they're going to keep OG for a while. Just anyway, right. His agent is Leon Rose's son.
That's how the NBA works.
Tampering.
That's how the NBA works.
But doing the move last night, I think it was Fred Katz who tweeted, a team that thinks there's any chance OG's about to walk doesn't trade away 4 first-round picks tonight. So I think they feel good. Things change.
Right.
But I think they feel good about what they can do, what they can offer, and what OG would do for this group.
Yes. You'd like to think if you're giving away that many unprotecteds that you think it's go time. And hopefully it is in Knicks land. It's fun to see. It's a fun concept. A bunch of college teammates that won a natty title getting together in the NBA, and it's already proven like it kind of works.
Yeah.
That you were, I mean, you know, what would you say? 2 years ago, there was probably a Bridges-Brunson debate of who was the better NBA player.
Probably. I'd have to think back on where we were at that point. And it probably would have been easily Bridges. Like, he was starting on...
He's a wing.
He's starting on those Suns teams that made the runs, and Brunson was sixth man on a kind of overall disappointing Dallas team. Made a Western Conference final.
Yeah, tough to do the history books fully like that, but the fact that, you know, I saw there's a tweet that got me laughing today. The Knicks are a super team of role players, which is kind of Villanova and Jay Wright's dream world. But Brunson's a star. Last Simmons thing I'll reference, I think he came out with his end of the year like top 100 players, and I think he has Brunson at like 7. So if we're there, put the chips all in and see what we got. In an East that, you know, the Celtics essentially went unopposed by playoff time this year.
Yeah.
So
the Knicks are kind of talking or letting word get out there like they are targeting like their matchup with the Celtics. And
hey, they got a ton of wings. The Julius Randle part of this is still unique, and when he was fitting in with the fellas, and it's
that January, the whole team was clicking. Randle was doing everything you could want all year before he got hurt. It felt like he was in the exact mindset you want.
And if the Knicks were trading Julius Randle, it's funny that the piece they want back, when you describe it, is very similar to Julius Randle. Like, it's kind of a versatile big wing, can play some center, can shoot a little bit, can pass a little bit. You'd probably want a little more defense, but then you're trying to put together like a creative player.
Perfect enemy of good, all that.
So
Randall with a little more boards, which maybe he's got some room for now.
Yeah. So exciting times in Knicks land, which you don't get to say that a lot. You know, and in a panic moment, I went to their Game 7 this year because I didn't know if I'd ever see a Game 7 in the Garden. It's pretty low. To know that we're going to be getting a few really good years of Knicks basketball in the Mecca. Bing bong. So, hey, huge episode today. I'm 18 minutes late for a minute. Eat it. But you know what we don't eat? Dan Patrick. Tell them, Beebs.
Talkin Jake is a production of Dan Patrick Productions, John Boy Media, and Workhouse Media.
Bang.
Bye.